rating
no,
will stay for
no, no.
40?
This is a paid account. This is a paid account.
Paid account. Okay.
I
You
made your
start.
post, Yogesh. You can go ahead and I'll go for mute or else I'll leave.
Okay. I'll
I'm in,
share my screen. Okay.
I'm in temple now.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Yeah.
Like,
I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So we will start like some basics before we actually deep dive into the Azure Databricks. So first thing is like understanding what is on-premise and the cloud systems, and then we will understand the different cloud providers, and then we will also see about the different roles in the big data ecosystem. So some of the roles you might relate to what you are actually working and how you can coordinate with the other team members with different roles and responsibilities, so that when you will work in a project you will get an understanding where exactly you are working, what exactly you are doing, and what others are doing, and what you need the information to be shared between these different team members. Then we will also start with the Azure portal registration, how to register the free account. So this will be for 1 month that we will see. So we
Mm-hmm.
will start with the on-premise systems basically. So what happens when we talk about the on-premise and lot of the projects, you will see that the migration from the on-premise to the cloud, and there will be always interaction with the on-premise systems as well. Some systems will completely migrate from the on-premise to the cloud. Some will have the hybrid setup. So in hybrid setup, they will have some setup on the on-premise and some setup in the cloud.
Okay.
So when we talk about the on-premise, like before the evolution of the cloud, many of the previous projects, they were designed on the on-premise. So it required like the backend system or the database, we can say,
Mm-hmm.
databases, then middleware systems or APIs, or you can also see this Java installation for development related work. So that is called as platform basically, some intermediate platform or the APIs or some Java related or any other code related thing that you need to set up. And for that, you also need the installation of that kind of setup. And then you will have like front end or UI, we can say, through which the application will be accessed. Or this will be UI, we can say. So
Mm.
earlier, whenever the organization need to set up any project for the client, they need to purchase the backend systems. For example, the database. So it can be, let's say, the Oracle database or SQL Server database
Mm.
or any other like PostgreSQL. Lot of databases are there on-prem also. So they need to purchase the license of these databases.
Mm.
So they need to explicitly manage the license. Then to install these databases, they need the storage or the compute, or we can say the servers. So like when we use our laptop, let's say I need the PowerPoint application, I need to install the Office suite. If I have to use the SQL Server on my laptop, I need to install the trial version or I need to purchase the license of that SQL Server. And I have to manage the installation, the storage, everything I have to manage on my own. So whatever I need on my laptop, I need to install those softwares. I need to purchase those softwares. If I need like more softwares or more platforms to be installed on my machine, I need more storage and compute power. So one option I have is to increase my RAM. And in some cases, you will have the slots to increase the RAM. But that is again limitation. For example, from 8 GB, you can maximum increase to the 16 GB. But if I
Mm.
have more need of than 16 GB, 32 GB, 64 GBs, 128 GBs, or maximum 512 GB RAM I need for my project, I don't have that much compute capacity. And if I need to process the big data again, when we talk about the big data, I don't have that much amount of capacity to do, or we can say the scalability factor. And similar issue was faced by the organizations also. So they need to go through the proper process, like generating the invoice, get those approved, and then identify some vendor who can fulfill that hardware or the compute requirements. So similarly, let's say I need a new computer or more configuration. I need to visit to a store and get more configuration increased. So similarly, when organization need to develop some kind of project, they needed these kind of setup. So they needed like server rooms where they will have like Windows machine, Windows servers or Linux or Unix platforms basically, or the OS we can say. And the power and cooling associated with this system need to be also managed by the organization. So we will need the electricity power. And when these are continuously running, we need the cooling also for this one. Then networking related things, how they need to be integrated with each other. So when you have to connect from one computer to another, you have to use some network or some cable related things there. So all that need to be also managed by the organization. So organization will have to set up everything on their own. They need to manage the invoicing, all that license, purchase license, everything, do that, all the setup related to just for one project, for example. They need to also manage these licenses related to these platforms, whatever the things required to set up a project, they need to purchase and build on their own. On the on-premise, we say like they are doing it on their own on specific location, for example at the office location we can say. So they will have some server rooms, they will manage all these specific types of servers with specific OS configuration. And if they need like higher configuration, again they need to find the vendor, they need to get that installed on these server rooms basically within the servers. They need to manage the power associated with this cooling capacity because this will be continuously running, and the networking related needs. So there are other additional things will be there, again the security related part. Access to the server rooms also need to be monitored and maintained. So all these things they need to go through a proper process and get these things done or implemented, and then purchase these licenses also, whatever they things. These are some few examples. In real time you can see many applications with many systems. So these are few examples where the when to build the application, they have to go through this tedious process basically, and they have to purchase these things. And their focus on implementing the project was less, and then their focus on managing this whole infrastructure is more. So to reduce down that time, what cloud systems are providing is they are providing all these things ready-made. Through the internet, you can just get the new server, whatever type of server you need. And behind the scenes, they are managing everything, the power, cooling, networking, and security. All the things they are managing, and sometimes there will be shared responsibility about the security. But behind the scenes, they are managing all that actual physical infrastructure. That is important. So physical infra they will manage, and through the internet we can access that. So like we are using the Azure cloud or even the Gmail, it is nothing but the cloud in the behind the scenes, the Google OneDrive. Everything is the cloud-based systems or the applications we can say. We are just paying for the charges of that duration when we are using the services. So all these things are available in cloud now, and within the few clicks, we can create those services and use those services and destroy those services when not in use. Coming to the on-premise, if I did this setup and my project is only for 3 to 6 months, what I will do with all these servers after that? If my new project is having different kind of requirements, let's say my first project is on Windows, next project is on Linux, what I will do with these servers? You can't do anything with that. It is waste money. Until you get a new project related to that, you have to wait or something like that. You will have to invest that kind of amount in this and wait for a new project. You can't destroy these machines because you have actually purchased these and these are hosted within your on-premise office location in a server room. These will remain idle. You are not going to use. Next project is related to Linux. One project is related to Oracle. You purchase the license for 6 months, 1 year. After that, you need the SQL DB, let's say for another project. You have to again purchase separate license for this one. Your license purchase for this one is gone. So same way, these are few examples where the organizations are doing the investments. And these, they need to manage this. This is becoming an overhead of, instead of focusing on the actual project implementation, instead of focusing on the software related implementation, their major focus was going on implementing the infrastructure. So, and you cannot scale it on whenever you want it. Like as I mentioned, 8 GB to 16 GB or 32 GB. So later when you realize that the project needs more users, it needs more space and like more scalability or the compute capacity, you have to again purchase the additional hardware for that. So all that requirements are causing the challenges for the organizations to maintain these kind of setup on premise or within the office locations, we can say. So one of the factor is this scalability, the vertical scaling or the horizontal scaling. So if I need more compute, like as I mentioned, 8 GB to 16 GB, this is called as vertical scaling. Like on the same machine, I'm increasing the configuration. Sometimes I will need more machines to handle the project. So that is called as horizontal scaling. So I'm adding more machines. So one virtual machine, then another virtual machine with the additional configuration. And then I'm running the things in parallel on the two machines. If I'm upgrading from 8 GB to 16 GB on one machine, that is called as vertical scaling. Scaling means increasing or decreasing the compute capacity basically. So that option we are not having on the on-premises. But these things are taken care of in the backend by the cloud systems or the cloud providers. They are providing those things to us. So for example, if I want to travel from one location to another location, I will choose the like a bus or the flight. I'm not going to purchase that flight for just one travel, or I'm not going to purchase the bus for one travel. I will reserve my seat for that duration. I will pay for that duration, and I will travel through that specific vendor. And again, the different vendors will have different privileges and the facilities or the features for travel. You may get like premium services. Sometimes you will get disappointing services depending on what kind of provider or the vendor that you are choosing. So that way, you are managing your travel with the different vendors, we can say. Similarly, there are different cloud vendors who are providing different types of services, the cloud services. So again, as we see, the databases are there, the Java related platforms are there, .NET are there, many languages are there, we can see. So all that will be managed by the cloud providers, and there are many different cloud providers are there in the industry. The top ones are the Amazon, Azure, and the
Mm.
Google Cloud. And there are other ones also which are in the market, like Oracle Cloud is there, then Alibaba is there from China. So many other cloud providers are there, but the main dominant cloud providers in the market are AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud.
Good. Good.
Google
Mm.
Cloud is not that much evolved because they started very late in terms of the implementation of the cloud services. So more
Mm-hmm.
dominant is the Amazon Web Services, we can say, Amazon Cloud. And the next one is the Azure, which is rapidly growing in the market share. The reason Azure is growing, they are bringing the more new services, Azure services, and the integration between the services. Like here, when we have the backend system, the middleware system, and the front end systems, we need to integrate these service to create an application. So same
Mm.
way, when we use the cloud services, we need some integration between the services. So within Azure, the integration between the services is seamless. It is very easy to do the integration between the across the different services. So what kind of services are provided? So there are hundreds of services. So depending on any organization's need, they can choose the set of combination of the services. So one of the things is main requirement is the compute requirement or the servers or the machines, we can say basically. So in Amazon, they are called as Elastic Cloud EC2 or Lambda or ECS servers basically. In Azure, we call it as virtual machines. And to run some dynamic code like Python or let's say Java, we use the Azure functions. And then we have again different platforms to run the different code or programming languages. In GCP, they will call it as the compute engines, cloud functions, and the storage basically. So the ultimate purpose will be same. The functionality will be same. The configuration will be different for these services, and the cost will be different. And the namings will be different, and the provider related configurations will be different. So we will have the database services like here we have the DynamoDB, here we have the Cosmos DB or Azure SQL DB. So many services are there. So depending on any project, the organization or the project management team will choose the combination of the services. It is not that when you register for the cloud, you are going to use all the services in the cloud. So you will just use the few services, whatever are required for your project. In some cases, let's say AI project is there, you will use the AI related services along with the compute and databases and the storage services. In some cases, you will not use this AI related part. In some cases, you will have the reporting capabilities. For example, the Power BI only. You need some data
Mm.
analysis and then you will use the Power BI. So you are not going to use the other services in that case. So what happens in the cloud is you will pay for the services that you are using. You are not paying for the whole cloud system. So whatever
Okay.
you, for example, when you subscribe for the TV channels or the Netflix subscription, you are choosing some specific plan and you are paying for that plan only. Or when you are selecting the TV channels, you are paying for those specific TV channels. Though there are thousands of TV channels in the world, you are not paying for all the channels that are provided by the TV channel providers. You are paying for the channels that you are watching, like 100, 200, whatever the list that you will choose. So similarly in the cloud, when you are selecting the services, only for that you are paying the charges. Another example is like when you have the electricity in the home, as you are adding the more equipments like refrigerator, TV, AC. So as you start utilizing those, your electricity bill will increase. So if you shut down those services, you shut down the AC, you shut down the TV, your charges won't be there. So only when you switch on those services, your charges of the electricity will grow. Similarly, there will be option to shut down the services, and you can save the cost when you using the services. So those options are also available. So when we will discuss about the Azure Databricks Spark cluster, if we are not running anything on the cluster and cluster is on, we are paying for that cluster. So we need to understand that we should switch off the services when we are not using it. So for example, during the office time also 9 to 6 or 9 to 5 when you are working, you are actually working those Azure services or cloud services. But after your office hours, you are not using those services. So you should switch off those services so that you or your organization will save the cost associated with those services. So there are many types of services, categories of the services are there, and each we are not going in detail because that is not more relevant, but just to explain you how the same service can be with different name and different configuration is available across these different cloud providers. Any
Mm.
question on the on-premise and the cloud providers?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is important that when we use the cloud services, these are pay-as-you-go services.
Mm.
So we will pay only for the services that we will use, and within the service again, how much duration we are using it. If we are using it 24 by 7, we are paying for 24 by 7. If I'm just using for, let's say 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, I will be only paying for those many hours for that service. And I need to switch off that service if I'm not using. That is important factor. So
It's
be
flexible,
flexible,
right?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
But we need to turn off that services. Like as I mentioned, I should switch off the AC if I'm not at home.
Mm-hmm.
Unnecessary, that will increase the electricity bill. If I keep it on, it will keep running. The electricity provider doesn't know if you are at home or not, you are using it or not. But
Okay.
the meter will continuously running.
Mm-hmm.
So you
So
have to,
it's on
hmm,
we have when we are not using, we have to shut that service.
yes. So that will save the cost for your organization basically. So you should have that practice or habit to shut down the services when you are not using that services. In some cases, there is no option that we can't shut down and we will have to continuously pay, but those are very few services. Means those kind of services are also there. In some cases, auto shutdown mechanism is also there. Let's say my office hours are 9 to 6, I will shut down the machine at 6 p.m., let's say. Automatically it will shut down. So manual switch off is there, automatic shutdown is also there, and sometimes the continuously services will be running that where we do not have option to switch it off. So we have to pay for that services continuously. But that depends on the which service we are using.
Okay.
So when you work in big data projects, there will be different roles. So one of the role is the data engineer who will be mainly working on creating the data pipelines, meaning that he will be implementing, for example, copying the data from the on-premise to the cloud. Since I'm moving to the from my on-premise setup to cloud setup,
Mm-hmm.
there will be requirement to migrate the data which is there in the on-premise systems. So I have to copy that data here. Because if I have to use the cloud services and my data is on premise, I first need to bring that data into the cloud. So the requirement will be of data copy. Then I will have the requirement of transformations. So let's say I have some data, customer related information. Let's say the first name, last name, email ID, the address, telephone number, all that kind of information I'm having. So one thing is copying that data from the on-premise to the cloud or within the cloud also. So requirements can be anything. And the requirement again will be data transformation. For example, removing the duplicates. Remove duplicates in the data. Let's say I have the multiple entries of the same customer in the customer file.
Mm-hmm.
Some customer entries will be null. Some will not have the telephone number. Some will not have email address. Some in some cases the first name, last name might be missing also, and the other rows will be there. So data, when you will work on any data related projects, you will not get the clean data. You will have to do the cleaning on the data.
Mm-hmm.
So in some cases, these are basic transformations like removing duplicates, then managing the null values. So these are few simple examples. So as a data engineer, you will have to work on these data copy transformations related tasks. And for that, you will use, these are simple. Again, you will use the SQL joins also, the complex one
Mm-hmm.
to join the multiple tables. So complexity will increase depending on the project. So you need to create basically the ETL processes or the pipelines, extract, transform, and load. So extract the data from the source system. It can be on-prem or cloud. Extract the data from there, transform that data on the fly sometimes, and then load the data into the target system. So get the data in between, do the transformations on the fly, and load the data into the target system. Or just get the data first, and as it is, whatever the data as it is, copy from this to this, extract, load, and then do the transformations. So that is called as ELT. ETL is extract, transform on the fly,
Transform.
and then load. And so these will be also interview questions when you go for the as a,
ELT, extract, load, and then transform.
yeah, first copy the data as it is, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
data is there, and then
Mm-hmm.
do the transform. Once you load the data here, then you process it. You do the
Okay.
transformation. So ETL and ELT are important.
Okay. So in the after transforming the data to the cloud, then like transform it on the cloud or
Yeah,
ELT.
yeah, yeah. Extract from the on-prem, load it to the cloud, and then think
And then
about the
transform.
transform. Yeah, then think about the transform. So again, you will use different services for that.
Hmm.
So you will have the projects in the similar way as well, and in some cases they will ask these differences as well in the interview about what is ETL and the ELT.
Mhm.
So on the fly, sometimes you will do the transformations on the data during the copy activity itself, and then you will copy the clean data, applying the
Mhm.
transformations during this journey or in memory processing, we can say. So this can be on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud also. So there are hundreds of data sources are there. Like we discussed about Oracle, SQL, Postgre. I have then Teradata system.
Hmm.
Then I have Salesforce cloud as well. Then within the cloud also you will have these data transformations. You have the Sybase database. Then you have the mainframe systems. Multiple databases are there. Multiple systems are there. So where it depends on like which organization, which project you are getting, and what data
Hmm.
sources they are using. So there is no thumb rule that always you will have this standard project and you will use these services only. So it depends on what organization is using and what is their current project and which data sources they are using
Hmm.
and which cloud provider again they are using. That also will depend. So any project will have any services and any cloud provider. So mainly the data engineer will be doing that kind of actual implementation of the ETL related processes. So he need to build that pipeline, the end-to-end chain of the transformations or data copy activities, whatever is required to achieve the end goal. Like from cleaning the data and what needs to be done on that, like joins, all that. So he should be proficient in like Python, Scala, different languages like SQL mainly, and
Mm.
then have the understanding of the cloud services. So again,
Okay.
AWS data engineer is different, GCP data engineer is different, Azure data engineer is different because they are expert in the those services. They are not
Mm.
expert in the other cloud services. Like if they gain knowledge, that is a different part. But most of the time, like when you work as a Google data engineer, you are mainly focused on the Google cloud. You don't know much about Azure and Amazon related cloud services. As part of interest, the person can develop the additional knowledge, but the focus will remain on specific cloud while implementing the things. So,
Okay.
so cloud knowledge as well as mainly SQL, Python, Scala knowledge is important to become the data engineer. Then comes the data architect, and then there will be some senior data engineers also. And the main person will be data architect who will be discussing the things with the client. He will be converting those requirements into the functional requirements. He will design the end-to-end architecture, like what services I should use in the cloud. He will
Mm.
decide that which storage, which compute service, which AI service, or whatever the things are required. He will decide on strategies basically.
Mm.
How the end-to-end architecture will look like, he will decide. He will discuss it with the business project management, and then the things will be finalized. He will take the inputs from the data engineers as required. So he will be continuously working with the team, and team will be also continuously working with the data architect because he is the main person who is designing the architecture. So he will define the systems, he will design the strategies, solutions, a roadmap, he will design all that. He will work with the business users and the team, and the he is kind of mediator between all the people, or bridge between all the people, we can say. He will decide on the database design. Next is the data analyst. He is mainly focused on generating the reports only. He is not like knowing what's happening behind the scenes, like from where the data is there in, like captured in the cloud, from where it is coming, all that. His main focus is, let's say, to just create the reports based on the task assigned to him. And he will be using the SQL language, Tableau, Power BI, or different reporting tools, or he can also develop the custom reports using the Python language. So the main analyst role will be just to create the reports. He is not interested on what is happening behind the scenes, what data engineer is doing, how he is doing the transformation. He is not interested in that. He will be focused on creating the reports that are asked by the business or the project to be developed. He will focus on just creating the reports. In some cases or in some projects, these roles may overlap because of the project budget or the interest of the like team members. So data engineer also wants to develop some reports. He can do that work. But in
Mm.
general, these are isolated roles and responsibilities. In some cases, depending on the project budget or the requirement, the roles may overlap.
Okay.
Same person might be doing the data engineering work as well as he might be doing the work related to the report creation. Data scientist is basically focused on building the machine learning models. He will solve the complex business problems and he will be working on the predictive analytics. He will generate some predictions based on the data that like previous year my sale was this, what will be this, like last 3 years my sale was this, what will be the sale for this year for different
Mhm.
products, just as an example. So he will be using that all the machine learning related knowledge and he will be developing the uh, predictive related analytics, predictive use cases, predictive and prescriptive analytics. So he will be proficient in machine learning, statistics, maths, important, and then Python and R for data processing languages. And should also have the domain expertise. If he is working in the healthcare, he should know the healthcare related terminologies and how that industry works. If he is working on the banking sector, how the financial related transactions are there or the terminologies are there, he should be familiar with that. AI engineer will work on the implementation of the projects like natural language processing, how the normal raw text can be processed and the insights can be captured from that. For example, you have the product reviews on the Amazon or eBay websites. When you purchase something, the people are posting their reviews about the products. So those are in plain English language or in different native languages. So the work of the AI engineer will be to extract the information from that. Are those sentiments are positive or negative? The product reviews are positive or negative? Same way on the blog post, you will have the comments provided by the different users. Are the comments are positive or negative? There will be many tweets happening on the Twitter website. Which are more frequent tweets? Is there any like different content, violent content posted by some users? So different NLP, natural language processing related use cases will be implemented by the AI engineer. So continuous on the Twitter or Facebook, you will have the comments or the posts shared by the different users across the world. So they will have,
Mhm.
these are just examples. In real time you can, depending on the project, you will have different requirements. But as an example, what is natural language processing or what is raw text and why the AI engineer is required is because we need to process and get insights from this raw data, raw text. It is not in terms of the rows and columns data. When we talk about the SQL database or traditional relational databases, we have the data in terms of the rows and columns. But when
Mhm.
the AI engineer is going to process the data, it is basically in the natural language format, like the plain English format. Or he need to process the images, get information from the images. It can be any
Okay.
requirement, or it can be audio file processing or the video file processing. And for that, there will be specific frameworks and specific Python libraries will be there. And then also he
And
need to use the machine learning knowledge. Yeah, go ahead.
what is CV?
Computer
NLP.
computer vision,
Okay.
computer vision and natural language processing. This is NLP is natural language processing. So we whatever we write as a comments, product comments, those are in natural language. To process that information, what is written by the, let's say I have one uh, laptop related product, a laptop,
Mhm.
and there is a sale happening, means I am selling that on Amazon, and people are posting the comments that laptop is good, this display is good, the battery is not well. What kind of like different types of their own experiences they will share as part of the laptop. Is it like hanging in between or not? Like whatever different things they will post as a comment or the feedback of the laptop on the Amazon website, for example. So that is written in the natural language. that is written in the plain English language. So if I have to understand the response of my laptop, how that laptop is doing the sale in the market, what are the people thinking about the performance of the laptop, I have to process those comments. So if I have thousands or like millions of users who are purchasing that laptop, I need to process that information through some mechanism. I can't directly go and read each comment. Someone will be writing positive, someone will be writing negative, or mixed comments will be there. So I'm not manually going to read those comments. So for
Hmm.
that, I need a mechanism to process that data. So that is nothing but again the data in the natural language format. And that is the reason this is called as natural language processing. How I am going to process that data. And for that, there are different libraries are there in Python, or the R language is there. So PySpark language is there. So in those programming languages, you have different libraries or packages which you can use to process that data. Then I have the computer vision basically to process the images. So to identify what the image contains. Any use case can be there with respect to the computer vision, understanding the like similarities between the images. For example, identifying a criminal, the police may use the various forms of the person he changing. The images will be compared and the pixel related things will be exactly matched, and then they will try to match the images.
Hmm.
So that is one use case. There are many use cases with respect to the computer vision where you need to process the images. You need to process the audio files. You need to process the video files. So all these things will be done basically by the AI engineer. And machine learning engineer will mainly see how these things can be deployed into the production. So how the development, from development to production, these things will be deployed. And how these things will be monitored in the production, he will be mainly looking at the production related part. So as I mentioned, sometimes there will be overlap between the roles as well.
Okay.
That depends on the project and the skill set of the uh, employee, we can say, or the
Hmm.
candidate.
Hmm.
So as you grow your knowledge across these systems, your chances of getting a project or work will be higher.
Hmm.
And then you will have the job security as well in that case, for example, so that you can work on any roles. So coming to
Okay.
the Azure portal registration, I'll share this link.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get a 1 month free account for the Azure cloud.
Okay.
So where we can use some of the services for free.
Mm. Okay. I got.
So we need to register with email address, then phone number, all the
Mm-hmm.
details. Then I have to submit like credit card or debit card related information. So in terms of dollar, I'm not sure, but in with respect to Indian rupees, 2 rupees will get deducted from your account, and those will be returned to your account just to
Okay.
validate your debit card or credit card is correct or not
Okay.
during the registration process. So whatever they are charging, they are going to return you that amount, and you can use the services for 1 month, and they will provide around $200 something. Yeah,
Oh.
$200 credit they will provide. And so maximum within 30 days you can spend that. Let's say you finish that within 10 days. So your
Mm-hmm.
free service quota is completed.
Okay.
And if there are the credit is still there, 200 or $100 credit is still there, but you completed 30 days. So that is also expired. So
Okay.
maximum you can use this for 30 days. After that, you
Mhm.
have to convert the account into pay-as-you-go model.
Hmm.
So that will be chargeable. So sometimes you get like free samples of any products just to test it how it look like, or you want to try it out that samples. So same way they will be providing these services for to you to try it out how the cloud works.
Okay.
Some services will be always free, but they have very basic configuration and like 4 GB RAM or 2 GB RAM of the machine, which is of no use. Now mobiles are having more GB RAM or processing capabilities. So some services are always free. That list is also there, but depending on your need, you will choose that.
So, do I have to need after means after the class I can make the account, right? For Azure free
No, I will
account?
mention you like when to create. Like once we started with some of the, I will show in the Azure cloud some of the things, and then you create it so that you can fully utilize the 30 days time frame.
Okay. So right
Immediately,
now, no need to work
yeah,
on
right
it.
now, do not create it immediately. I'm
Okay.
just explaining how to register it and how to
Mm-hmm.
create the free account. So for that,
Okay.
you will need debit card or credit card. They will deduct some amount and then return that amount just to validate the account, the details provided are correct or not. And mostly we will use the free account for, means in your case, for me, I have already consumed lot of free accounts, so I will not get the free account. So I am using
Okay.
the pay as you go model. So whatever the duration I'm using, I will be charged for that. Means they will be charging for me for those services. But in your
Mm-hmm.
case, you can use the free account
Okay.
to try it out. You later on you can try it out with different email address. Like even after 30 days, you want to try it out. You want to practice it more. You can create with different email account and different credit card, email ID, all those details.
Okay.
So you need to provide like email ID and then verify the email address. They will send a code
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be done. Here you need to provide the information about the country, first name, last name, the email
Mm-hmm.
address, phone number, then the credit card or debit card related information. And once that verification is successful, then only you will create the account.
Mm-hmm.
So this is related to Azure cloud setup. I will show on the like browser as well when again, but just to explain you the steps, you need the email ID, phone number, and the debit card or credit card related information. That is for the identity verification by card. That is important. We can't skip this step, and they're not
Okay.
charging us anything until we use the pay-as-you-go model. So
Hmm.
here they mention you won't be charged unless you move to pay-as-you-go pricing model.
Okay.
So within Azure portal, this cloud, when we register to this one Azure cloud, what we can do is we can create and manage those Azure resources or services. This will be continuously available, the Azure portal. So everything that we will do is through Azure portal only. So automatically it will be loaded from the closest location of the to have provide the high performance. These are like backend things. We do not need to worry about it. And this is completely managed by Microsoft with no downtime. This is important. So this will be always available to you.
Mm-hmm.
And regular updates they will manage and they will deploy in the backend that you will never know. But only when like if you see any kind of UI changes, then only you will realize, oh, this is modified or recently deployed. So to navigate and to work on the Azure portal, you will use this portal.azure.com always. Once you
Okay.
register to your account, once you complete the registration process, you will then use this portal.azure.com, and within that you will use the username password, the email ID and the password that you have provided.
Okay.
So in a project also, when you work on Azure cloud related stuff, always daily your work will be in portal.azure.com. You will log into that.
Mm.
So this will be home screen when you will first log into the Azure portal once you register. And you can see like many services also, or resources, we can say the virtual machines, the web application services, storage accounts, the SQL database, Cosmos DB. As I mentioned, there are hundreds of services are there. But when we will use, we will choose specific services for our project purpose. We are not going to use all these services.
Mhm.
So on the left menu also we have the similar setup, what we see on the top here, like virtual machines, the Azure Cosmos DB function app. All this list is also available on these four lines. We can say when we click on this, we see this navigation pane. So this is home page where we can see the recently used resources. So initially you will not see anything because no resources have been created or viewed recently. So as you create those services, you will see those services in this home page. So we can create like any type of service as required. So as we will progress with this course, we will create, for example, the key vault, the storage service, then Azure Databricks service, and we will use and then integrate those services. So we
Can you
have
repeat on what will be on the 16th power slide? Again, that Azure, yeah, portal services.
yeah,
So,
this is
okay, go ahead. Can you repeat one more time?
no, this is my home page where I will
Hmm.
see the resources. For example, I create Azure Databricks service. I
And I
create
can use anything from here, like if I want a SQL database, anything like.
yes, yes, you can create it.
Okay.
Yeah, so within the $200 free credit, you can use that within a month. But if you consume that, let's say $200 in 10 days
Mm-hmm.
also, your free services are completed, expired, we can say. Then after that, you need
Okay.
to migrate to pay as you go model.
Okay. So, like, if I create a SQL database, it will get created, like, but it will get like charged from that $200.
Correct. Yes. So
Hmm.
it can be $10, $20, depending on your uses and the configuration.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we purchase the mobile phones also or laptops, initially the
Hmm.
minimum configuration will have the less cost. The minimum configuration and minimum features will have less cost. As I use the advanced versions of the phone or laptop with higher configuration, the cost will increase. So
Okay.
same way, the number of features and what we can say the pricing model of that service, depending on that, we will be charged. So
Mm-hmm.
you can create any service. It's not that you have to just create the Databricks only. If you are means going to use it for Databricks, it's not like that. You can create any of these services for your learning purpose.
Okay. Got it.
So I was just showing that here you can see these lines are there. So whatever here you see, these options are there, or you can use this create a resource option, or on this menu also you will see this pane. This is called as pane. There also you have option to create a resource, or
Hmm.
you will see the list of favorites here. So this is just to navigate on the portal. Basically, you can create it from anywhere. Here you have the search box. So if you don't know anything how to start, you can search. Let's say I want to create SQL database. You can search SQL database. and it will
Mhm.
open the SQL database related thing, and you can start creating that. Or you can click on this create a resource, or you can click on this menu, and within that menu also create a resource. All these things are there.
Mm.
So this is basically the navigation part, I would say, on the portal. Once you register
Okay.
and log in, then yeah, once you like familiar yourself on this navigation, you will get to know this. I will show on the portal
Mhm.
also in the browser, but just to explain how the things are working. So here also we can see the categories. Once we click on this create a resource button from here, or from here create a resource,
Mhm.
I will land on this page. So I can see the different categories like AI, machine learning, analytics, blockchain, compute, containers, databases, developer tools, DevOps. So you can
Mhm.
see Internet of Things. Many categories are there. Within each category, many services are there. So as I mentioned, hundreds of services are there, but we are not going to create those. Only when we need any specific service or resource, we will create that and use that. For example, SQL database or Key Vault or Data Factory.
Mhm.
So whatever we will need, only we will create that one. We are not going to create all the services.
Mm.
And we will be only charged, like when we are using pay as you go model, we will be only charged for those services based on the configuration and usage of those services.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, like what you select the plan in the Netflix, let's say you are only paying for that plan. You are not
Mm.
paying for thousands of the other features. Same for the TV channels, you are only paying for the channels that you are subscribing. Again, for example, for your SIM card provider, the network provider for your phone, you are paying for the data and the calling services, SMS services based on the plan that you are selecting there, or based
Mm.
on the uses that you are doing there. Same for electricity, what appliances you are using, based on that you will be charged. You are not using all the services, you will not be charged for the all the services.
Mm.
So you have the option for, in this you can see this settings menu is there, this setting symbol is there. This is just to change the look and feel, like if you need the black background or any changes related to the Azure portal, the look and feel, that you can change from these settings, appearance and the start of view, this view basically, this view. If required, you can customize on the themes and all that based on your requirement. That is not as such the mandatory step.
Okay.
Then we will see the portal hierarchy, basically how the things are managed within the Azure portal. So on the top, I will have the management groups. So this is the symbol for the management groups.
Mhm.
Then I will have the subscriptions, like similar to, as I mentioned, the Netflix subscription is there, the
Mhm.
network provider subscription is there, TV channels related subscription is there. Specific subscriptions we will have for specific services. So similar to that, when we are creating the resources or services like databases, virtual machines, the storage service, they need to be charged somewhere. And for that, we need a logical grouping, and that is called as subscription. So subscription is just a concept, the entry point we can say, through which we can create the resources, and the resources will be charged at the subscription level.
Mm.
Because we are creating many resources, means depending on our need, like SQL database, Azure Key Vault, Azure Databricks, all these services I will be creating, those will be charged at the subscription level. So to manage
Mm.
the compliance within the organization, to manage any kind of policy within the organization, I have the management groups.
Okay.
So if I want to bring something like you can only create these kind of SQL database, for example, just example. So I can enforce that policy at this top level. So which will be applicable to the whole organization.
Hmm.
So for example, only you can create this type of resource. Only you can create the resources in, let's say, specific region, allowed
Hmm.
locations. So there can be anything compliance related things from the organization point of view, which they want to enforce. For example, when you have the ID cards, you can just enter to the specific locations. You can't go navigate to the all locations of the all rooms of the your office. You can just visit to the specific floor only, for example.
Hmm.
So there should be restriction on the uses of the cloud services also. There should be restriction on the how you are utilizing these services, how you are configuring these services. There should be some protocol, proper method should be used when you are utilizing these services. So for that, the organization may enforce the policies. And to enforce the policies across the organization, these management groups are required to have the centralized control. So this is the reason, that's the reason this is at the top level we have the management groups. So to manage access policy and compliance for multiple subscriptions centrally. So if you're the as I mentioned, like specific locations only you can create the services. You cannot create some specific type of services. So that can be also like created by the policy. For example, if your organization do not want you to create Azure SQL database, they can block that creation of the service also. So in your personal account, you can do anything when you log in, but as I'm talking about the organization and project, there may be restrictions also. What kind of SKU or the series of the machine that you can choose. Just few examples. In real time, you can have different policies. So just to apply some of the policies, you will use access control at the management group level. Subscription, basically, as we discussed, logical association of the user accounts with their services. So as a user, I am creating SQL database virtual machine that will be covered at the
Hmm.
subscription level, and I will be billed at that level. So many users can use many services and the billing will happen at the subscription level.
Okay.
Then I will have the resource group, basically the folder we can say. Within the folder, we have the set of services. For example, within my subscription, I will have a project resource group. Within that, I will create the required resources. Then I will have project B resource group. Within that, I will group or club all the required services. So this resource group you see, within that, you will create the actual services. And then last will come is the actual service or resource like SQL database, virtual machine, the Databricks, storage service, key vault. So whatever I create as a resource will fall under the resource group category within resource group. Is this clear?
Yes.
We'll repeat it tomorrow also if you want.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it will be clear. Means like good.
So this is just, I'll show this slide and then we'll close this today's session. So as I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, within the organization, you will have different departments like HR department, IT, marketing, different
Mm-hmm.
departments you will have. So at the top level, we will have the root management group. Within that, again, you can create sub-management groups. Within that, you can create the subscriptions. So region specific you can create, the department specific management groups and subscription you can create. So this is because this will be similar to your organization hierarchy basically. How you want to control the organization related things. This department will be different. They will be handling things differently. IT will be handling things differently. Marketing will be handling things differently. So just to have the different subscriptions for different users within the organization, they have this hierarchy. And billing will happen to specific subscription. So for marketing this subscription, they will be charged at this level. So there will be no interference between these departments. They will be charged separately, they will be charged separately, depending on their own uses.
Okay.
And also the access level thing, also segregation of access and billing, basically main two things.
Hmm.
So if you have the access to this subscription, then only you can access the resources which are within that subscription. Otherwise, you will not have access to those subscription and resources. So these things will be managed by the Azure admin. So we do not
Oh,
need to worry about this. I'm just showing you how the hierarchy works. So whenever you create any resource, where exactly it will fall and why we need subscription and resource group. So always it will ask for subscription and resource group whenever we have to create the Azure resource.
oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
This is mandatory for creating any service or resource, subscription and resource group.
Group.
And then we have the regions as well, in which region we have to create that.
Hmm.
So I'll talk about the regions and additional things in tomorrow's session.
Okay. So do we have tomorrow or like day
Sorry,
after
sir.
tomorrow?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
day after.
Usually I'm
Okay.
having daily sessions, so that's the reason I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, we will see this week how it will go. It's like I can able to catch up, then we can go for daily session also. But if I need some practice, then we will go in this space.
Sure. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we have not started like the actual implementation. I'm
Right,
just
right.
covering the conceptual part first. Yeah,
Hmm.
but when we will start the implementation, yeah, you may need breaks to practice it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So initial couple of sessions will be with respect to the understanding the conceptual part, the architecture, how things work, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
start actually practicing the things maybe next
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Okay. I feel interesting. Means like I don't want to miss. Means like I like to have a session tomorrow also, but like as
No,
we
we can
will go
have
as
like,
planned. Yeah.
no, if you want, we can continue tomorrow also. It's up
So
to you.
it's like we can continue tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, then okay, I'm okay. We can continue.
So we'll
It's like,
continue, yeah, on these
yeah.
things, these things, and then again, how the resources get created, basically,
Mm-hmm.
how the service creation happens internally within the Azure, that we will discuss tomorrow then.
Yeah, till the concept part we can go like once we go into like deeper, and if I need
Yeah,
like breaks, then we will go for like day one 3 day in a week.
3 days, sure,
Or yeah.
because the
Uh,
complexity is going to increase for sure.
hmm.
Right
Yes.
now, I'm taking slowly and explaining all the basic
Hmm.
concepts, so it will be easier. But the we will catch up more things again as we have the more sessions.
Okay, if you are available, available tomorrow also. So like we can go ahead.
Yeah,
So
sure.
just yeah, we have to like let Ganesh know, right? So then mm,
Yeah, we can. I think we can use the same link. We'll confirm with Ganesh on the that thing.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Let
and
me
then we.
know. Yeah. Mm.
Sure, sure. I will ask him to confirm on this tomorrow session. Yeah, if we have
Right.
to use the same link or the different link.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, son. Bye.
Bye.